3. Hit it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. It is, once again, Fireball Friday night, and we are back in the house, not out on the water. We got quite a bit to talk about. As you see all these baits laid out, I put them all together, took them to a fishing spot, and we have a winner. But it was on 2 different occasions, so if you haven't, I just dropped a video today of me just out doing some test casting, mainly with chatterbait stuff, a few other things, and you only saw like, what's up, Frank? You only saw like a couple bass, right? So, not far from where I live is George Owens Nature Park. Now, I hadn't been there, I don't even know, at least over a decade, possible 2 decades since I'd been there. And I don't even know what came upon me, what filled my soul to think that just go try it out, right? So I went down. Anyway, if you haven't watched that video, go watch it. And I was so let down for the fact that I only managed to muster up 2 chatterbait fish. And I thought, that can't be, like, we can't end it there, right? So it's either never go back, never speak of George Owens Nature Park, or go show them how it's done. So the video that's going to drop tomorrow, make sure and watch it, is basically what I did. I went back just a few days later, and I took my confidence baits from like all the, majority of my confidence baits, and just started throwing them, right? And then we hit on, of course, you guys, if you've already watched a few of my other videos this season, this dude right here just kicked in, and what you'll see tomorrow is, now, no giants were caught, but like not necessarily every cast, but like every cast or every other or every third cast was a bass for enough to fill up a whole video's worth of just catching bass, right? Some little dinks, some like not so bad. But that little dude right there, we went on a little tear in pretty, well, it was a couple little areas, but mainly one area. Like, I just kept casting the same spot, and they just kept hitting it. And I don't know how much of the footage I left in of other baits. Like, I tried a lot before I got to this bait, and then I would stop every so often and switch to something else, trying right in that same area, and I'd go back to this and catch them again on this. So it was just, it was on fire, and it was going. So we'll talk about more about that, but I want to talk about, if you didn't watch the video, I'll kind of go over briefly what we did and what I found in my testing so far of our chatterbaits for this season. I know a lot of you guys keep mentioning other things to try, but I'm only going to try so much this year anyway, for sure, that I haven't already tried. Some of the stuff I've already tried, or I guess tried it in my mind. I'm like, nah, it's not worth me messing with. So anyway, so far in the findings of basically my 2 new trailers that I was trying, and then in the video I dropped today, I kind of I think I was calling the first one I was throwing this guy on the back of Little Neo, and I was calling a swim on, but of course you guys knew it wasn't. The swim on is this guy, that's the Komodo Junior. So I just kind of were throwing these 2 rigged up, and we'll talk about these baits too. That's not the super break blade, but it's kind of a knocked off version of it, I think, from AliExpress. Not overly impressed with these baits so far. The trailers, I am so far, if I had to pick one, I'm going with the Kamikaze Swim On, and I'll talk about why. But we got out there and tested that out. I just briefly threw a few of these swim baits with the Gambler Easy on the back. A couple, well, I don't know what I did with them all. Here they are. Just a couple different styles. Swim bait heads with that Easy rigged up. I don't know how much of that footage, maybe none of it even made it, but I don't know how well I'm going to like this or not. I'm still trying to make myself, first of all, like spinner baits close to as well as I do chatterbaits, and then, swim jigs in there also, and like some alternative baits that they're like a chatterbait, but they're not a chatterbait. They're kind of like a swim jig, but they're not, those in-betweens. They don't chatter near as hard. So the I forget the name of this one, but Key Tech, whatever they call this one. One of you guys talked about, you'd asked me again today, the grass something. It's basically a spinnerbait, but they've cut this up here and it's got a chatterbait blade up here. I forget what they call it, grass something. But anyway, I'm like, no, I haven't tried that. Like, so far, everything I've tried, even like these little dudes, or the ones like I've talked about, that they're not really a chatterbait unless the blade directs mountly to the head where it can hit. Then they're just a bladed jig. So like that is a bladed jig. This is a bladed jig. This is a bladed jig. That grass, whatever, I can't think of the name of it. It's a bladed jig, even though it's a cross between it, kind of moved it on further up or whatever. These other little ones, wherever they're at, that I had a while back. I think for me, I think I'm missing something. I don't think it's any of those. So I'll tell you what I also ordered. If you guys have watched, and it's not necessarily because of the tackle trap, but I had been kind of looking for, something in a swim jig that I can fill. So like in spinnerbaits, I've talked about it. I don't want it to chatter as much as a chatterbait, and I don't want it to chatter as much as these in-between baits. But like a spinnerbait, I want to be able to feel those blades twirling. So I like these knockoffs of the SV3. I've never actually tried a true SV3 to see how I would like it or not. We got a couple of these other spinnerbaits that I'm not really overly impressed with. I probably catch fish, but I can't really feel them. I'm debating on getting the Cheeble, the Beeble, they make a couple different sizes to try that. I've kind of made my own little version somewhere around here that sort of you can kind of feel, and I may do more on that. But, once you get into some of these baits, unless you can find a knockoff version of it, you're talking $18, $20 some dollars for a bait that I don't even know if I'm going to like that well. So I want to find a swim jig that has some vibration to it, or just lets the bait move. So I'm going to be trying some bigger paddles, like the paddle size to the head size, go as big as I can for vibration, for feel, and just will it get bit or not. So that's just the start of that. So the two ways I'm going to do it, I just haven't bought them yet, but the first way is I'm going to buy some of the I think they're 3.3, the live target little like bluegill that have that crazy tail on the back. I've just never got those and tried them or whatever, so I'm thinking I'll try those on the back of a swim jig and just see what I think. May try them by themselves, but probably rig them up on a couple different swim jigs. But then also, after watching the craze now for that PD chopper, and I saw once you look into what it's supposed to do, it gives that bait a little movement. Tackle Warehouse had a few. The hookup tackle completely sold out of them like crazy. I don't even know if there's any of any size, any color available there. Tackle Warehouse has like two different versions of it, and I've got one of I think it's a normal size one, then they make like a junior or something, and I got a few of those coming. But the main thing is I want to try to find something I can swim, like a swim jig style, that I can also just the subtlest feel and detect right when I'm fishing it. So if I want to work it around whether it's grass or something, I won't get hung up as much before I fill it to where I can pop out of it easy enough. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm doing on some of that stuff. And this is just one of my early attempt of trying to just see what I thought of this. I think what I'm going to do is take some of these, because I didn't like these. Fishing these by themselves just on like a EWG style hook with the belly weight down here. These do not compare to the Spark Shad, 5-inch Spark Shad. So I'm probably going to do some cutting down on these and try to get this tail, basically this big honking tail on a smaller swim jig head style. I just threw it on the chatterbait just to see what it did. And it actually doesn't look bad. I may leave it just for until we get around some bigger fish, which could be as early as Sunday. I'm going again with Charles on Sunday. Tomorrow, I don't know. And I'm going to get your guys' opinions on a couple different things. My Gomexus and reels from AliExpress are 100% more expensive. Is just me. Do what now? Your cat was 500 plus. Money day was 13. I'm not sure what you're talking about. So far on AliExpress, I haven't seen any prices change on anything. And worst comes to worst, we can always jump down and buy the Solo King Acuras for like 45 or 55, or even back when I paid like 75. Those reels will get you by for a season or so. So anyway, let's talk about, if you didn't watch the video, I'll give you a little recap on what took place. A few days ago, I went down, I basically just pulled one of these boxes out and I put most of my different chatterbaits in that I wanted to try. And on that day, only 2 baits managed to catch fish, but all I really had, I did have this little jig and I got a hit on it, but I didn't get it in. And, you know, it was just it probably was a decent pounder or so. But the only thing that actually hit were, and I got them in, where's my other bait go? Oh, it's on my rod still. So, was actually my favorite bait. If you got, I put a little short video out of it, you may have seen also, but just a black and blue with the gold blade. But then I thought, well, if they hit that, and I brought this because when I was out testing the non-cut down version to the cut down version, it seemed so easy to get at least a hit or two on it. Was almost going to be 2 weeks ago now. So I brought this purple one, and the minute I got it, the only thing that hit was the black and blue. I thought, well, the only other chatterbait I have this dark colored is this guy, and I threw him, and within just a couple casts, caught another bass on him. But you could tell they just weren't on chatterbaits, right? So we got our testing in, and you can see me swimming some of this stuff around and how they jump around. And I got a good kind of taste for how these, you know, baits let the chatterbaits jump around on the little Neo, the Nobi baits we've been buying. And so far to date, I think that the smaller, that 10 gram or 3/8 ounce, they call 3/8, where's that focus? Those little Nobi ones jump around better than any of them. You have to kind of slow down your reel because they are actually lighter than a true 3/8. So they will ride up if you go a little too fast, but once you've got it slimmed down like with this, or even with this one on it, man, you talk about that crazy, almost like a jerk bait type action that they will let it have is crazy. So I don't plan, I'd had in the cart, I'd had a few more colors of these and a few more of these. Let's just say after that little day of testing, I'm not saying these are bad, but I took off the ones that I had. I was going to, I think I was going to get one more pack of this color and a couple more of the other colors I thought I'd like. I just canceled, I you know, removed those, and then I added a few more colors of these because what this bait does, either one will let them jump, but I think this one lets it jump out further, and also at the same time is giving your bait a little bit more presence as far as a bigger profile look. So I kind of leave them a little short, right? I don't like them sticking out too far. That's all the further I want my chatterbait tail. If anything, actually, it wouldn't hurt for me to have it up just a little bit shorter. But then when you've got it spread out like that, right, when you're working it, it still has a presence of a profile of, it could be, and then honestly, I don't know if they're think what this is. So I talked about that in a video too. But so far, right now, I haven't really put it head to head up against my favorite Baby Rage Menace and a true, like, just which one gets bit the best. I really need to get on a chatterbait bite first. But I think this is probably going to be my new favorite just because you can, I still have to cut it down. And then we'll also check on durability, how well they last. You know, I've only caught a handful of fish on this, but so far I've caught 2 or 3 fish and no sign of it being anywhere. It just is still fine. The Rage Menace, the baby, well, no, Strike King is notoriously just a softer plastic, and Greg Hackney's one of the first ones to admit to it. He's like, yeah, he goes through, you know, the rage bugs and he thinks that's why he gets more bites. They're just that softer plastic does, but they will wear out fairly quick. So anyway, that's why I think that the Swim On's probably starting to become and will probably stay my favorite trailer. And they have a lot of, I guess, more color options for a chatterbait that I like. So I want to talk about why did I go out there, and even though there wasn't a true chatterbait bite going on, how did I manage to catch 2 fish on a chatterbait? None of the bright chatterbaits were working, the natural colored ones. It was a clear, sun was shining day, fairly clear water conditions, but yet what people will tell you a lot of times is that dark water, dark day go with dark colors. I think part of the reason why this bait and that black and blue with the gold blade, I don't think the gold blade had anything to do with it. I think actually this blade was a better option for the day. I think what happens, you're actually better off to have a shiny blade, because I think it'll help pull a fish to get him to look at the direction of this bait. Now, this is just my opinion. I could be totally off on this. I think why you some days will get bit, maybe more so with a dark purpley, blue, green pumpkin, darker color on days when you think that they would be hitting some other color, is, my opinion, a vision thing. Same reason I think the reason the TRD works so good. I think a TRD looks like it could be anything, right? It's on the, like, is it a bug and they're not seeing, you know, its legs? Is it a small fish that's turning with them so that they can never see a side profile at it, you know, and they instinctually just eat it before it, like, you know, it's like staring them down, it runs, or what is it? They don't know. I think that's why it works so good so often, not only just to mention the small size of it. I think what these fish are seeing in their mind, even though it's a bright sunny day and maybe the sun is shining, you know, right on this bait, I think what this looks like is like any bait that would be going through the water, that they're down looking up at it. And so the sun, right, the profile is all they're seeing. So whether they're seeing this and the sun's shining from this way, or the sun's shining directly at it and they're looking at it, it still looks like, you know, I don't think a bass can, I don't know if they're smart enough to tell, you know, which way is the sun hitting it to where am I seeing what I should be seeing, or is it, you know, just look like the shadow side, you know, the dark side of the moon, so to speak, kind of thing, to where they're just seeing enough of it to get a profile, not enough of it to tell exactly what it is. And that makes them curious to jump up there and just, you know, I'm going to get it and see what it is, kind of thing. That's just my opinion, because there's a lot of times that if the bite's a little slow, and I think it's because they're just not in the mood for that look. So it could be this, it could be this, right? It could be this guy. They get a look at it and they're just like, I don't want that. They see this coming by. They can't really, they're looking at it, but they're thinking they can't get a look. They're like, I don't know what that is. So they just come up and grab it. That's just my opinion on an off kind of day. I could be totally off on that. Oh, my cat was 500. Your cart. Yeah, somebody dropped a little bit on AliExpress. So let's talk about some of the baits, other ones that I was trying. So far, I'm going to throw these around wood just to see if I get hit. But just as far as what they do, their vibration is nowhere near like a chatterbait, which could be good on certain days. There's no ability to make them jump. which is the main reason that it's so far a no for me. I'm going to try them around wood. Same kind of thing with this guy. I like the way it's got a subtle, it's kind of, I can feel it, but it's probably, it's a little more than what the SV3 is as far as what you can feel, but it's nowhere near your average chatterbait. Even some of these littler bladed chatterbaits, this is probably even a little duller chattering deal, which could be good on certain days. But here's the thing, I think anyway. I think this is the worst color you could add to something that you're trying to be subtle, right? So you got this bright, loud color and then this little subtle vibration. I could be totally wrong, but I would think I would be better off to peel this off. And it already does have a black head with a little bit of blue on top if you look. I think this bait right here with the black and blue skirt, you know, something like this, and then, you know, basically like this setup onto that kind of deal would be an excellent, just, you know, it's coming by and they're like, what is that? Like they can kind of feel it, you know, that is definitely something that they're not used to because it's not really like a spinnerbait and it's not really like a chatterbait. So I think you get in a place with also it rigged up that they can't quite make out like what is that, and more chances to get hit in my opinion. Now real aggressive days, but here's the thing, if it's an aggressive of enough bite that they'll hit this bright color, you'd be better off with this bright color on like a, you know, more loud chatterbait anyway. So my other one that I'm anxious to get around wood, because I threw this one, it looked good. It looks delicious in the water. It looks like something would eat it, but we didn't have any takers on it. But I also did go out the couple days later and I threw the dark sleeper around a little bit. No hits on it whatsoever either. So they're just not crawdad eaters, I don't think. Like I said, I had one hit on this little dude at that George Owens place, but I'm got a couple options. I might hit it again tomorrow because I went on a tear with this guy and I'm thinking about doing one of two things. Either going back and just, you know, trying regular type gear again, maybe take all of my jerk baits, even some of my other hard baits, and then some of my jig stuff or whatever. But what I'm also tempted to do, and I don't know if I'm going to do it because I heard some of you guys talking this stuff about, because I haven't really gotten out and done a true BFS video in forever. So part of me wants to, I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. I could take the Kind Tetners, whatever, but I'm thinking about taking like all these dudes out and just going out there and seeing what all different things. And I mean, you know, I could still be throwing technically chatterbaits with BFS. I got some of these. I could also throw this dude and the other minis with my Teton 6'6", and you got to yank hard if you get hit. But I could just see, you know, just go out there with smaller gear because they're dinks, you know, and try that out. Put on a true BFS video before I get ready to go fishing with Charles on Sunday. So I haven't decided yet. I'll probably sleep on it. Just got back from the movies, by the way, and spoiler alert, Michael B. Jordan movie Sinners, it is not for me. If you guys, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't know if any of you guys even like movies or not, but that movie, oh, Lord, give me strength. Wasn't really for me. So let's talk about this, and then we're going to talk about some rod and reels also. I talk about a lot because it just works. It works so well that I had in my cart, I don't know, I think I had another 110 plus 1 junior in more of a white color. I had a 110 junior. I had a 110 plus 1. I had a 110, I don't know, I had 4 or 5 different Megabass jerk baits. I'm like, I might get a few more, but I'm like, why? This just flat worked. And what's funny is This is almost a natural white enough cut. Got a little bit of chartreuse on that purple back. But I would swear, every time I go fishing, it's either this one will catch you, like there don't even have to be a jerkbait bite going. You can catch fish on either this or the algae bone, E-bone, elegy bone, whatever you want to call it. It's basically a pro bone blue, but then with chartreuse on the belly. But those two, between the two, I feel there's almost no need for hook's still sharp for any other jerkbait. So I don't know. I may still buy a few more. This is so I've had, I don't know how many different times people ask me, are mega bass baits really worth it? Yes, but I don't recommend buying any expensive bait that's an easy to lose bait. So even though I bought a few, I try not to buy like rattle traps that are expensive. Like as much as I like to buy some of the TN70s or whatever, the Jackal ones for like, and I do have some of the LV500s, but a bait that you could lose at any given time you cast it, which is honestly, if you guys fish rattle traps much at all, you know what I'm talking about. Like they got a short lifespan a lot of times. The thing about jerk baits is on the mega bass side of stuff, like I kind of have, even though they're like a slow sink, it is, and I'm going to knock on wood because I'll probably lose this guy next time I fish it. It's kind of hard to lose a jerkbait for a couple reasons. You're throwing it out in more or less open areas, so you're less like, I'm not saying you won't. Some people throw them around wood, and you got to be careful. But you're less likely to lose a bait like this that's more out in open water usage, or like a Pop Max, for example, a baby Pop X. That you're throwing those in more open water, just kind of like the Karashi, right? You're probably not going to lose that bait. You go spending $15-20 for some of these, even let's use chatterbaits for example. They stick to wood like you wouldn't believe, and other baits that you are throwing around the gunk and are more likely to wear. And most of these, one thing good about mega bass, they can usually take a beating. They're going to start wearing, the paint will wear once you start catching fish, because I don't know, this guy's probably got 35, 40 fish this year, I would say, just in the last, within a month. I mean, it's got some marks where the hooks have been hitting or whatever, but you can get, they're $19.99, the juniors. Like, you're going to get your money's worth out of these baits. Now, you don't want to go, now some guys are collectors and they just buy the whole, every color that comes out. But you go get like this one, the I believe it's SP Table Rock Special, or the Northern Secret is close to this, or the Algae Bone, or just kind of generally a whitish one with a little whitish chartreuse. I really don't, I mean, you could get like pearly white or shiny chromy type ones or whatever, there's all different names for them, but a couple different ones, and that's really all you need. The 110 plus 1 junior is what I recommend. And if you really like them, then you could branch to maybe just get the same color in, the shallower running ones or the bigger ones, or now they got the SR, the shallow running one, and just get one or two of your favorite colors and maybe get the whole lineup to where if you think they need to be, ran shallower, or the 110 plus 1, not the junior, I think runs a little deeper than the junior, you could get it. But you can change where a jerkbait runs simply by, well, you can change the line, but you can also just hold your rod tip up when you're popping, level or even a little high. We'll let it run a little bit higher, or your rod tip down, almost, touching the water kind of thing. We'll get it a little bit, and then you could also change the line. So you can, swap it out to a different reel. You got a reel with 12 or 14 or 10 pound for that matter. These hooks are small enough to, yank, kind of how you yank when you're pulling in off a jerkbait hit. Usually when the other jerk is what set the hook when they grabbed it and you realize they're there, and you just kind of give an extra little pull up as you're, it's not really a hook set, you're just kind of ensuring that you're, if the ones that have stuck him, or drive him home a little bit more as you're pulling up and then reeling in. So yeah, I think you just got to be careful on, where if you're on a budget but you want to buy a few higher end baits, it's hard to go wrong with a Mega Bass jerkbait or Mega Bass Pop Max for that matter. I haven't found anything to compete with the Pop Max for that size that of a popping and walking bait. Like, it's just hard to beat. When you go to the smaller, the Pop Max, or I'm sorry, the Pop Max is the big one. The Pop X or the Baby Pop X, I feel some of these little AliExpress ones or a lot of little, there's a lot of poppers that are, some of them argue maybe not as good, but they're like right there. But the Pop Max, it's, in my opinion, on its whole other deal. And they keep saying that this dude here, this is a knockoff. I cut out all the footage, but I will tell you this. I thought it was working better when I left my snap on. So I had a snap on. You guys know I run my snap. I don't have one around here. So my snap I had was actually bigger than this one, but I had a snap on the front, right? And I thought it pulled the head down a little too much. And I was like, I don't like that. So I did. I cut the snap off, tied it on directly. And honestly, I feel the action got worse. So I tied my snap back on, fished it a little bit more, and it does, you can get it to kind of walk the dog, kind of an erratic jumping around, but I feel like this knockoff is probably not as good as original. And so I've got one of those in my cart. Frank was talking about cart and cost. We'll talk about that real quick. I've got in my cart, I can't think of the name of that bait company, the Shimmy, oh shoot, there's a company, it's fairly new, within the last year or two, but they got the little shimmy something to where basically it's a little jig that, and then the weight kind of comes down and rides under it. And then old Matt Steffen Fishing did the Ozark rig. I got a couple of those, just thinking about trying a couple of those different ways to rig your soft plastics right. I also have, what did I put in my cart? I don't know if, the back to spinnerbaits, the Bling, Ish Monroe, because I was watching, and I don't know how many times I've seen Tactical Bass and talking about it, on the fact that you can bend the blades on that, those river to sea, the Blings or whatever. So I'm like, you know what? I need to get a 3/8 with that double willow on one of those, just to see if it's like because like what these are, I can go real slow, with the 3/8. I can go slow, put a bigger, and the bigger paddle you basically put on, it means the slower you can go usually, and still have these blades twirling kind of deal, kind of letting it hover. So I may get I had one of those in my cart, a few of the different, what is it? Ozark rig and the Shimmy. Is it the Shimmy rig? Maybe it's just called Shimmy rig, Ozark rig from, I can't remember the name of the bait from the company. Oh, shoot, something else. A couple other things that I may get, may not, because I've already got 4 of those PD choppers. 4 different ones of those coming, with some more of the swim-ons in a few different colors. They were doing some kind of clear out on a few other swim bait. Are they Gamblers? Maybe they were Gamblers, but they have one on there. I can't remember the actual name of it. It wasn't the Easies. It's ones with ribs. They're only like $1.97 a pack. So I got a couple packs of those. Oh, the shoot, I can't think of the name of it now. 6 Cents has a weird looking swim baitish worm trailer thing that I also ordered a couple packs of those that are on the way. Should be here next Wednesday, that I wanted to try out, kind of maybe by themselves or on rigged up on one of these little swim jigs. But then the Ozark rig, I was curious. I want to try it with my Cinco style stuff, right? So here's what I normally throw, and I threw this dude, and I did miss a hit, but if you guys see this was a fairly new worm. So I'm pretty sure whatever, I missed it because it was holding on to here. That never had a shot at getting the hook stuck in it, but I did miss one on this dude. But I primarily go with that rugby finesse jig from VMC on my Zinkers. But that Ozark rig, the way it may let me hook up is maybe let this thing work more like on the down, and then it should still do about what the shaky head does as far as on the Zinkers. So curious to maybe give that a shot. Like I said, it's in the cart. It's not a for sure deal yet. I haven't actually purchased them. I'm still up in the air. What else? What else did I even throw? I'm not even sure. I didn't throw... Actually, I didn't throw this the first time I went out. I forgot I even had brought it. I threw it briefly, but like I said, I've been there twice now. They were not on Chatterbait bite on any given day really yet at that place. That jerkbait just was... It went on fire, and it was the only bait that caught a fish. That was yesterday when I went out, a Thursday afternoon. So if there's no questions, I'll probably get this video over with. Oh, no, wait. We didn't talk about rod and reels. So real quick, because I commented in the video you will have watched about the reel test, and he's definitely a Shimano fanboy. Now, you guys know I don't dog Shimanos too much. I don't dog LEWs too much. I don't dog Abu Garcia too much. And I'm not a Daiwa fanboy, but I always end up with Daiwa reels. But this season we've got LEWs, Daiwa, and the only reason we got a Shimano, and we got Abu Garcia. The only reason we got a Shimano is because I haven't sold this guy yet. Calcutta Conquest, and it's not the XG, it's just the HG. But aftermarket spool, still got the stock spool, awesome reel. Yeah. Should I put it on something and go fishing tomorrow with it? Nah, probably not. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. And I still got this reel that was a letdown. I bought it brand new. You know, it's new old stock. Picked it up for $300 up at Rogers. First time I got out on the water actually retrieving with it. And I'd swear, well, you can't tell now because that's hitting, but I'd swear under a little bit of load I could but hear kind of a geary sound that I didn't think it should be making. So it lasted that one little couple casts, and I took it back off the Poison Adrena, and it's been sitting here ever since. I don't know. I may take it completely, tear down, clean it, relube it with the Lucas oil and the Space Lube from Daiwa, give it another shot, but I'm so far happy with this combo. So the video you're going to see tomorrow, I'll be looking for it, is going on fire with this dude on this combo, right? Poison Adrena, just a cheap little combo. Poison Adrena with the new Steve's SVTW. But no, this is a high-end combo. It's not the highest end rod you can get, but is, in my opinion, the most versatile rod going still. That 611 medium plus. Unfortunately, there's not one in the lineup. It's just gunk. It's not scratched or anything. But so far, the new Poison Adrenas don't have a 611 medium plus in the lineup that I've seen. But I'll be honest, this is still not my first pick for a jerkbait rod. As you'll see, it works, got the job done. But I honestly believe that LEWs is a little better for how I fish a jerkbait. And, you know, you can go back and watch the videos how I was fishing it with the LEWs. Because a lot of times the way I pop them hard, I want it to have a little, like, burning reaction. But I don't want it to be too much or hardly none at all. But I feel between X-Pride 610 medium and this LEWs KVD jerkbait rod that I think those two may be a better option over the Poison Adrena. But the Poison Adrena does it fine, as you'll see. I think I lost one fish once I felt like the weight. You know, I had a couple like, oh, that was one, and I never felt weight. But then, you know, of actually filling the weight and then not getting it in, maybe only lost one bass, and you'll see how many I caught on this bait using the Poison Adrena. And it actually works a little better for the bigger one. So the 110 plus 1 junior, just like that KVD one, they're more or less for bigger jerkbaits. So the fact that they handled the little one, awesome. Just shows you how good they are for jerkbaits. But the 610 medium, this guy right here, is it's still, as of right now, still probably my pick for the best one. So at some point, and it may be sooner than later, I'll get out there and kind of do a little heads up between this guy, since I own all three. This guy, the KVD jerkbait, and the poison adrena. Hang on. Woo, gotta get another drink of Fireball. So, and feel free to comment below. There's only, you guys keep popping on and off here. We're going to try to go for about an hour, then I got to go to bed, get ready for tomorrow. Or get ready for tomorrow, then go to bed. Or go to bed and dream about getting ready for tomorrow. Let's talk about what the real test was talking about, for those of you that don't know, which is true. If you're wanting a rod and reel combo for long distance casting, you don't want any Daiwa that says SVTW. It'll still do it, but the SV is stress-free, versatile. It's to help ease of fishing. So either a beginner or just a seasoned veteran that don't want no hassle, no doesn't need to cast as far as it can possibly cast. But I'll be honest, I feel anyway, since these Daiwa reels that came out with the boost, I'm not missing any distance over Shimano's. If you guys want to go back and look, I did some, just like when the guys start talking smack about how good the jackhammer was, right? And I went out and I did my own test, and I even recorded it. And I'm like, hey, would you guys tell me, like, the Z-Man original and the jackhammer and all of these others that are what I call a chatterbait are close. Is a Z-Man jackhammer awesome? Yes. Is it worth $16? I don't know. I probably won't buy any more. I like the fact that Evo's $9.99, and then it's probably you'll be able to get on sale. I plan on maybe getting a few more of those, but as long as these little knockoffs are available for $3, it's a no-brainer because they start right up, they chatter, they do it all. Definitely stay sharp, but I can tell there's not the hook quality as, and even, where did it go? Where did he go? So here's like a knockoff, right? Half-ounce knockoff. I put the skirt on. But even the quality as like the Thunder Cricket. Honestly, the Thunder Crickets are the ones I probably like that hook in that Thunder Cricket. I don't know why, just better than any of them. Something about that hook. I just like the Thunder Cricket hook better than any of them, but isn't it going to make me spend that crazy amount that they want for a Thunder Cricket? No, probably not. I think the Thunder Cricket's a little more subtle. So I would put a jackhammer and its knockoffs, even though they're cheap, Chinese, $3, sometimes as cheap as $2.50, $3.50 baits. The startup and the overall thump is still better, in my opinion, than the Thunder Cricket. But sometimes that overall thump is a little more than the fish may want at any given time. So I honestly believe a Thunder Cricket's got its time and place also. Do I want to have all these different Thunder Crickets and bird chirpers and grass pad muncher frog toads or whatever, all these names for all these different chatterbait like baits? No. What I do plan on doing is keeping these little dudes, and maybe when they pop on sale, or just going, because Rogers always has the original mini max for like $7.99, and then these hopefully will go on sale like the Evos do on certain time they have sales, instead of $9.99 if they're like $6.50 or whatever. The 1/4 ounce, if you're just wanting that very super shallow, more finessey, you probably can't go BFS with it, but you can definitely kind of, just go for that smaller bite. You're just wanting to get bit. The 1/4 ounce is kind of a good option, but I wouldn't suggest dumping all of your cards onto those. I do think that there's a place for the Mini Max or the Evo Mini Max of like the 3/8 ounce, and then 3/8 ounce of the knockoffs, and then maybe even the actual 3/8 and 1/2 ounce, or 1/2 ounce also the knockoffs, but 3/8 and 1/2 ounce of the just regular Evos, because they got a lot of different color options. And like I said, wait for them to go on sale. If you can come across the Strike Kings on sale, under $10, it's hard to go wrong with these too. But I don't see a point, in my opinion, just so far what I've been seeing and jacking around with these. I don't plan on buying. I might buy one just if you just see a color of the jackhammer and you're like, oh, I want that color. Then I'm not like trying to talk you out of buying a jackhammer. But if I was going to start building up, I would not even, the jackhammer's not even on my radar right now. I'm not even thinking about them. Well, I take that back. The one there's two baits, a jackhammer and actually a Picasso that is weedless. The Picasso is a ghost gill, and I can't remember what they call the jackhammer, but they're that more like muted bluegill, almost a silvery white with some bluegill colors in them. I've been debating on it because I think that those two colors on those two different baits, I'm like, I don't know. I see a time when those could be a good color that would get bit kind of deal, but I already have so many chatterbaits. I don't know if I'll buy those. That's a ton of money to spend on. Those two baits are like over $30. I could literally get about 10 of these knockoffs. I could go 5 1/2 ounce and 5 3/8 ounce, right? Especially when you catch them on sale. And they do get bit. So the two fish that that I did get managed were, one was on the Nobi, and then the other black and blue is the old school Jackie Hama. They get bit. These styles, whether they be the Mini Max, the Evo Mini Max, the Evo, or these knockoffs, are like my favorite baits. If we stop all things with AliExpress and China and I'm out of these, I will jump into the Evos and then probably still get the cheaper Mini Maxes. And I almost forgot, the big blades, I'll always have a couple of those, just like a bigger bluegill, and then probably the white one wherever it's at, basically one of these type of colors in that big blade, just for times when I'm thinking they might be hitting something bigger. And I probably won't be buying any more originals, just for the fact, like, I feel I've already done enough testing for you guys. Like, if you don't believe me that you can, do you have to? Like, if you're on a budget and you're like, I just want to get, if you're buying a bunch of stuff and you want to add a chatterbait, but you don't want to spend a ton of money, you can get any of the 3/8 or 1/2 ounce Z-Man originals. And just if you needed to change color, I would actually recommend probably not the white-headed one. I would get well, you could always paint it silver, but honestly, treat this like it was just a jig head. So if you had a silver one, you could put whatever skirt on it you wanted and then trailer and just fish it around, and it wouldn't necessarily be, oh, that's a white chatterbait, oh, that's a brown, that's a black chatterbait. You could just have a silver chatterbait head in 1/2 or 3/8 ounce and switch your skirt and trailers around, and you could literally go fishing with just one chatterbait. All right, so back to the rods. Hang on. What were you talking about? Do these work good in Florida? I have a couple, but never use them. If you're talking about chatterbaits, yes. Throw the chatterbaits. Jerkbaits work if you got deep enough water. Let's talk about the real test was talking about, he was dogging the SV stuff. I want to talk about the LEWs. So even though this is it's funny, this is my least favorite combo. It may be my favorite to throw jerkbaits. It's my least favorite combo because of the reel and the noise the reel makes. But as far as what it does and functions, it works. But would I buy this reel again? So this, I have $300 in this combo. Got the reel on sale, $199, the rod for $99. Would I pay that again? Like, if this broke something, like if this rod broke and I was offered another one for $100, I would buy it again. Would I go out and spend another, if this breaks, would I go spend $189 for this rod? Probably not. Not as long as I still have my X Pride 610 medium, or especially the Poison Adrena. But for $100, if this broke and I could come across it, I would buy the rod again. The reel, I don't think I'd give another $199 for that reel, and I'll tell you why. So I'm going to show you here. Because I think for just a little more money, the better reel is that reel. Now, it wouldn't look good on that other rod I had there, but this reel is $279. Been debating about buying at least one more, just like I did the Tatula. I'm thinking about buying a slower gear ratio Tatula and putting on my blade, since it's my favorite combo. The more I start staring towards these littler baits, right? Whether it be 1/4 ounce, even when this is a 3/8 ounce, these are like 3/8-ish, a little lighter. It's almost like that 8 to, that's an 8 1-to-1. It's almost like it's a little too fast. I'm wondering if I shouldn't get the 7-1, and then I could always switch back if I feel like when you get into that summertime, everything's a lot deeper, and I'm throwing 1/2 ounces, and I want to go a little faster. But I'll probably just work on slowing my cadence down and not worry about it, because I do like the fact if something's coming at me, you can catch up with the 8 1-to-1 or an 8 5-to-1. A 7 5-to-1, you can catch up, but man, sometimes you're like, oh God, you feel like they're coming at you, and there's not a tight enough line for long enough that they could easily get off, kind of deal. And 6 5-to-1, 6 3-to-1, I feel like anytime you're working a bait, and if they grab it coming at you, it's just so hard to get caught back up. But I do possibly see a time when I would need one just to slow me down, whether it be working these chatterbaits, pretty much any of these moving baits. So, anywho, any other questions? Bueller? All right. I think I'm in this video, guys. Like I said, if you haven't, go back and watch the video. Oh, I didn't tell you what I did, though. Did I tell you? So I went with all the chatterbait stuff. So then I'll just go through the baits real quick. So I said I wanted to go back, and I wanted to catch bass. I was testing's out. I'll be testing, see which ones were working at that time. But I wanted to go back and catch bass, right, at George Owens. So I took the stuff that I had originally loaded in this and basically took it out. So I loaded it with my confidence baits that I'm like, okay, what have I caught them on this year, and in previous times, and I went out with that. So my Booyah Hard Knocker, this, in this color, because I've already caught them this year. This dude I didn't take. And I did even bring this out because I have, up until I lost both of these, that sleeper crawl, and I just watched that same day, Thursday, is Ben had released, with Hookup Tackle, had released a little sleeper crawl video. So I'm like, I'll take it, and I'd used it a little bit, nothing. But I took our little Evo Mini Max, so we done good on that color. Like every time we go out, he was a dud, nothing. I took this spinnerbait. Honestly, I never rigged that spinnerbait up. He never made it. I tried most of those baits. This dude never made it. This dude never made it because I was trying to sleeper crawl, and so yeah, I don't think I threw him. I threw him the first day, got one hit, and then I just don't hide your eyes. It's okay. And this guy got thrown and nothing. Like I mentioned, I had the one good, like, okay, I got one, and then used it briefly, and then went, no, let's go back to what works. In the black and blue gold blade, I had it also, nothing with it. And then when I switched to this, and I just took the Karashi knockoff just to try it, and nothing was even hitting the top water. But this dude, game on. And I took this, my peanut butter and jelly that I rigged up that we love, but I didn't even throw it. I never made it to throwing it. Once I got over there, about a half hour in maybe of fishing, I'm like, let's try the jerk bait. And it just was like, I'm like, okay, this is this. And okay, so then I finished off just circling around where I hadn't been with a couple different chatterbaits and nothing, and then just called it a night. So anyway, that's kind of what we did, what we went through. I got to get all this stuff rigged for tomorrow, or just leave it set. Or no, I still got to get it rigged for Sunday, but I may rig up some BFS stuff. I haven't decided yet, but tempted to get the BFS. If you guys want to see that real quick, what that would look like, it's pretty non-exciting, but the Kaing Teton has been sitting here all season, rigged up with that Arise Evo. It's called the Evo. What is that? What do they call that? Something Elite. I thought there was a different name, but it's Elite Arise BFS reel, 6'6", one-piece Teton, not the two-piece ones. You can't get the one-piece anymore. So this is more of a full flex. Like you can... So like here, that's the last guide, okay? I don't know if you guys can see. So it flexes. It's about as close as you could get before you would just call it almost a full flex. So if you like a rod that isn't, it's gonna not feel as heavy as like a fiberglass rod, but you like the rods that have that fiberglassy type bend to them, you would like the Teton rod, the 6'6" one piece. If you can still track them down anywhere. So I'm tempted to take it. I got the feeling over there, and I've got multiple other rods. Yeah, let me straighten this camera up. So, I guess, since I talked about it, BFS, I've only got a couple reels, so I'll just show you the other one that's rigged up. And they're both still rigged up with just test casting jigs. But we've got our filling. See the name right there? Filling rod. That is awesome rod with the Joker on it. That would also be good for pretty much anything BFS that I want to get out there and try tomorrow. Or I could take any of those rods off. Or sorry, reels off of those rods. And then I've got all of these reels. I keep getting mixed up. Rods. That's the 522 Super Ultralight, the Streamer, and I believe the Ultralight. I broke the light, I think. That's my favorite. Like, that's the most expensive AliExpress rod I've ever bought. $200, like a 5'6", crazy light, crisp blank. That's an awesome rod. Even the old Cast King Zephyr rod would be a real good option for them smaller fish. Or no, not this one. That's the medium light. So this is the quick. This is actually stiffer. This is more, it says medium light. Yeah, it's pretty much it's not far from a medium. Like I put it, it's not far from the 610. So really any of these four. And honestly, this one, if I could put the Shimano on it, and that dude right there would be a blast. I'll try to just show you. For those of you that aren't familiar with the true like BFS-y stuff, if you guys see how this stuff bends, like what you're seeing now come out is basically people are utilizing BFS, which I've said a long time ago, to just start, just come out with rods that are basically what spinning rods, for the actions and powers and all that for the techniques, and just make them for bait casters. And so that's what they're kind of getting to. But these kind of small creek and stream ones, they're like very ultra lighty, more for going out pan fishing style fun that you can also catch bass. Just when you're in Dinksville, when you're the mayor of Dinksville and you're trying to bring some stability to town, right? And you want to catch some fish. That rod, I can't remember what it weighs. It's like very light. Let's weigh these. Let's just do it. I actually think I got a high enough ceiling to... No, I can't weigh them up here, but you have to take my word for it. So I'm going to turn on this scale. Zeroed out. Well, let's put it down here. I'm going to make sure it's zeroed out. I have to do it again. No, it still says 0. So I'm going to weigh this rod for you. I haven't balanced or done anything to it because you don't need to. That rod weighs, oh boy, 83 grams, 83.3 to be exact. That's probably 0.3 right there though. So 83 grams for that dude. This is going to be a heavier one, but I'm going to show you. Look at this crazy tip on this Cast King. That's one of those like solid tip, almost like an ugly stick, bend it back around, touch itself. Crazy flexible tip that you can just flick stuff out there. It jumps into backbone like though you could, you know, go crazy. Now, yeah, that's heavy. 106. So it's got this crazy bulk back here that adds up, which makes though for perfect like balance setup. And it's got a good comfort feel. That's a good, actually good, way better than the Cast King Zephyr reel. The rod is 100 times better than the reel. So let's just weigh the streamer next because it is not as light as one we're going to weigh last. But if you guys don't know about this one, the Lure Star streamer, awesome rod too, but they were prone, and I broke one by being nutty with it. But I believe these are the ones that the coating would kind of start to flake off the blanks, but they were like $75. I'll try to show you the tip. This is the ultralight. These are not bad rods, and one of the most, that's probably the most comfortable reel seat I've ever felt. Like it's just palming is excelente. And the one I broke, I'm thinking about taking that reel seat and, you know, tearing it down and putting it on something else. Ah, my scale came off. Hang on. So let's just weigh those for the folks at home. Yeah, so 98. These are heavy. So if we're putting them into order, that's like 108, 98. These are about as heavy as my BF or my regular rods. So this was like crazy light, wasn't it? Let's just let me just hang on. Let me do this dude again, just so we'll know. 83. Okay, so 83.3, and then this should be the light. Oh, it's got to get off of there, Thunder Cricket. 522 Kind Teton SUL. Now this one isn't that crazy tip. Okay, now it's soft. It's not. It's about as soft as the others. Nowhere near what the Cast King Zephyr is. Close to the others, but this rod, and I see where I broke it and fixed it. It bends all the way down to where, if you guys can see here, like it's a full. You get on a very decent fish, like 3 to 5 pound line, the whole rod's going to be bent. It's a crazy 5'2", and it only weighs. Come on. 73.3. So 83, 73. It's like 10 grams. This is a crazy light rod. This is actually, I'm sure the blank material is lighter than even this dude. You can tell it's a little thicker, but it's more hollow. Like this is a, but there's just a little more weight. This is metal here, but 5 foot, or they're both 5'2", I believe. Is that what that one says? Oh my God, where does this say it at? Oh my goodness. Yeah, 160 meters, I believe, or not 160, 1.60 meters. 160 meters is pretty big. Yeah, what does it say? 5.32. So 5'3", 2-piece ultralight. This is a 5'2", super ultralight. So these two right here, you can talk about having fun. Any kind of small little Dinksville, panfish, crappie, little bass, little BFS baits. Probably my two favorite for that kind of thing, even over these guys. But these are awesome too. But for that, honestly, go out there and just have some fun BFS fishing, but also do some other stuff would probably be the feeling. These are awesome rods. Unfortunately, you can't get them anymore. But the one that I've just flat out, well, I got my personal best bass on, and I've put more videos out with throwing everything with this rod is that Teton 6'6", 1-piece. That thing always ran 10 pounds. It says 3 to 8 pound line. It's always had 10 pound line on it. I think every once in a while it's 10 pound braid. Every once in a while I put a 6 or 8 pound leader, but pretty much it lives with 10 pound. And I just don't have the drag super tight. But I've thrown the big whopper ploppers and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, hopefully you guys like this video. I'm going to put this stuff up and kind of debate tonight what I want to do in the morning, get geared up and go. I'm kind of trying to talk myself into getting out and doing a little more BFS fishing, but I got so many other, most of my newest baits are geared for, you know, not BFS. So I don't know what I'm going to do for sure. Going to go again with Charles on Sunday. It's been raining and wet everywhere. Is the reason I'm not going to try to get my boat out. And there's a few places I could go tomorrow, but it's probably going to be so muddy I'd either A, get stuck, but honestly I'm not even going to try, because B, even if I don't get stuck, I don't want to go leave ruts where I would go. So I'm like, yeah, I don't even want to take that chance of, you know, leaving ruts somewhere and, you know, getting in issues with that kind of deal. So not going to do it. But anyway. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Get out and go bass bonsai. Be looking for that video that drops in the morning of, or wherever I put him. Where did you go? Sleepy Joe? No, that's not Sleepy Joe. Dude. Where did I put him? Here he is. He's hiding. Be looking forward to the video that drops tomorrow with this dude Shines. If you haven't watched the video that dropped today, go watch it of the two, or was that yesterday? No, today. The video where I only managed two, but we've got to watch a lot of the different baits, how they jump and hunt around. You got to hear me talk smack on the reel test. Wasn't really talking smack, but you know the deal. I ain't scared. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See you later.